What is your American dream?
The American dream, if anybody works hard enough, they can do anything they want to do, right?
I want to see the American dream afforded to everybody, regardless of their race, sexual orientation, or anything.
I do feel like I have reached it, and it's very close to my personal mission in life, which is to write the stories of my comunidad and to use my voice and any success that I have to help lift up their voices and stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
My American dream is that everybody in this country has the same opportunities that I had. I feel very privileged in my life. I benefited so much from the abundance in this country, but I know that many people don't have the same access to these privileges that I do. And so my dream is that every American has the same access that I had.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Groundhog Sam! Oh, hello. How are you guys today? Did you have a nice weekend? I did, but it was crazy. First, I drank way too much Manischewitz at the Seder with Brad. And then I ate way too much candy on Sunday for Easter. Ended up in a sugar coma. It's been a rough weekend. I'm still sleeping it off. But I have a duty to attend to. Now is the time you've all been waiting for. It's time for Brad Show Live, starring Brad Bernstein. Enjoy! I'm gonna wake up and watch, and so should you. Check it out!
Welcome, everybody. It is Brad Show Live. It is Monday, April 10th, 2023. I am live, and I'm going to be answering your immigration questions very shortly. Our lines are wide open. You can give us a call at 1-800-529-5465, international +1 212-227-8933. We have 12 open lines. Surprisingly, nobody on hold at the moment. I don't remember the last time I did a show where nobody was on hold, but maybe because we're on time. I can't believe it. Usually there is Eastern Standard Time and Bradshaw Live Time, and Bradshaw Live Time is always at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes past Eastern Standard Time. But for some moment, maybe I don't know, the stars are aligned, but Bradshaw Live Time and Eastern Standard Time are exactly the same. We started at 5 o'clock, just as we said we would, but we don't have anybody on the line, and that's the meat and potatoes of our show, to call and ask your immigration questions. So if you call right now, Fiona's standing by to put you on hold, and I will be answering your immigration questions in about 15 or 20 minutes from now. The number is scrolling on the bottom of our screen, 1-800-529-5465, international, +1 212-227-8933. All right, let's say hello to the squad. Fiona Thompson, first one in, saying squad up, guys. Squad up, Fiona. Shan Smith saying, hey, squad. Cordella Douglas, squad up, Uncle Brad and family. How you doing there, Janelle? What's going on? Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Alcia McPherson, squad up, Brad and his team. Richard Treasure saying, welcome back. Thank you. Camille Thomas saying hi. How you doing, Camille? Alcia McPherson, squad up, family. Vivian Masco, good day. And Mel Cabero. Edwards Richards saying, squad up, everybody. Elizabeth Francis, squad up to Cordella Douglas. And Fiona, one love. Lois Williams Mills saying, hi, Brad. Our first pre-schmooze question of the day, saying, hi, Brad. My husband petitioned for my sons. Their case has been approved, but he has refused to continue. What can I do? I guess he's the stepfather, the step-parent. There's nothing you can do. You can't force somebody to sponsor somebody who doesn't want to sponsor them. If you already have your green card, then turn around and file for your children. Unfortunately, they'll take a little longer. It's a little cruel on behalf of your husband, but there's nothing you can do. You can't put a gun to the person's head and say, hey, continue. At least you shouldn't. But so there's really nothing you can do. If you won't continue, you won't continue. So the best you can do is just, if you have a green card, file for your children as quickly as possible. Rog J. Roberts, what's going on? How are you? Stella Dogubo, squad up, y'all. I said Elizabeth Francis already. And Daphne Hudson saying, hi, Brad. Echo Partner saying, hello, Uncle Brad. Hello there. Camille Thomas with another pre-schmooze question of the day saying, hi, if you're undocumented, can you go on Medicaid with no problem in the future? Believe it or not, I actually just did a video on this on TikTok yesterday. Somebody else asked a very similar question. Biden changed the rules. USCIS changed the rules on Medicaid in 2022. So if you get Medicaid to get inoculation from COVID, for example, you are on Medicaid because of an emergency situation. You go to Medicaid and you get Medicaid because you go to a health clinic and they say, well, you don't have insurance, we'll charge Medicaid. None of that is a problem in the future in terms of poverty guidelines and the I-864. Those rules have all changed. Also, getting public housing is no longer an issue for poverty guidelines as well. The only issue with Medicaid is if they are giving you Medicaid for long-term health care, meaning you have a long-term health issue that's going to go on for years and years and years and years and years, and Medicaid is continuing to pay for it. That could be a problem for poverty guidelines. But a one-off Medicaid payment, whether it's an inoculation, it's a vaccine, a health clinic appointment, an emergency situation, that's not a problem at all. I said Richard Treasure, I believe, but hello again. And Ricardo Forster also with a pre-schmooze question of the day. Can an employer who is willing to sponsor my EB3 green card, I'm in the U.S. on an H-2B, can adjustment of status be done given that I am a schedule to work and the employer already has their prevailing wage determination? If you have a prevailing wage determination, you still have to do the perm application. If you can get the perm application approved before your H-2B has expired, your employer should be able to file an I-140 visa petition and file an adjustment for you concurrently. So the answer would be yes, but you got to get that perm application approved first. The longest period of time to get the perm application approved is that PWD, that prevailing wage determination. So if he already has that, you're already more than halfway through that perm application already. So if your employer is willing to do the perm application for you and you get it approved within a matter of months and you're still in legal status when it's approved and you can quickly file that I-140 and adjustment, absolutely go for it. Elizabeth Francis, Uncle Brad is looking plummy. What does that mean, Elizabeth? Reddish looking today? I don't know what plummy means. Or plump. I'm fat? What are you saying? One or the other. But I don't think it's nice. But maybe it is nice. I don't know. Maybe it's a nice compliment. I don't know. Elizabeth Francis, I said hello already. Ricardo Forster, also continuing his question, current status is valid for another 10 months. All right, so if the current status is valid for another 10 months, you should be able to get that perm application approved. Car Brown, squad up, how are you? And Asimbo Adelaja saying, hello, Uncle Brad. How are you? Another pre-schmooze question of the day. Mukit Chowdhury asking, how long is it taking for VAWA I-360? My case is on 10 months running, but online my case showing was reopened for reconsideration. What does that mean? Well, an I-360 VAWA usually takes at least 3 years. If it was reopened for reconsideration, that means that you were denied and then immigration realized they made a mistake and reopened it. So I don't know what's going on there, but something's going on. Top Demur, squat up. How are you, Top? Agnes Dowden, squat up from Grenada. Squat up. Lolitha Daly, squat up. How are you? Lisa B saying good afternoon. Rhonda Abrams saying hello, Brad. How are you? Gabby Zafalan, how are you? It's Gabby. And we'll do one more pre-schmooze question of the day. I'll say hello to a few more people, and then we're going to get into our schmooze. Chris says, I filed to remove the conditions for my green card in 2021. I received an RFE, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of evidence because I'm no longer with my wife. Reasons being, my wife takes out, a restraining order on him. If you are no longer with your wife, you need to get divorced. And if you get divorced and you can prove you were with your wife back in the day, not now, but back in the day, then you will get approved. Having a restraining order against you, as long as it didn't turn into a criminal offense, actually is evidence of a bona fide marriage, because people in business marriages usually don't get emotional enough to go out and take restraining orders against their other spouse. So it actually benefits you as long as there was no arrest involved in there. Noni Gatelin, this is a way better than calls. Great upgrade, Brad. Oh, thank you very much, Noni. She just likes seeing everybody's face and question. We like the upgrade as well, too. All right, we'll continue. We'll just do a few more pre-schmooze questions of the day. Echo Partner saying, hi, Brad, I have a green card. Can I petition for adjustment of status for my parents, or should I wait until I become a U.S. citizen? Echo Partner, you cannot file for your parents until you do become a U.S. citizen, so you have no choice but to wait. And let's see who else we have here. We have Anjin, also with a question, pre-schmooze question. All right, Anjin, we'll ask that question as well. Hi, Brad. Do you know why USCIS has added several months to the process time of I-130? It used to be 10 and a half, now it's 14. Yeah, they're really freaking slow. They don't have enough people to process applications. They're very inefficient. Those are the reasons. Forrest Mushy. All right. Now I'm doing all I'm social media checking right now before the pre-schmooze. Hi, Brad. I had a 2-year extension 1 year ago, and now I received another 48 months. Can I do my naturalization? If you are in a bona fide marriage with your spouse and you live with your spouse, have the financial relationship with your spouse, you now have been on extension for 1 year, you can file for your naturalization. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to check in right now and schmooze a little bit, see what's going on in immigration news from within the United States and around the world for U.S. immigration. And then we're going to be getting to your immigration questions, where I'm going to answer your questions live. If you call 1-800-529-5465. But let's first schmooze and let's see what's going on around the world. Let's start the schmooze. All right, so on Friday, March 31st, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced it is issuing policy guidance to remove the requirement that the civil surgeon's signature on the medical form I-693, that's taking your medical, it's a report of the immigration medical examination and vaccination record, what everyone knows is taking the medical, going to the immigration doctor. If it used to be dated more than 60 days from the time the application was filed, then your underlying application for an immigration benefit was denied. For a little background, that has now changed. For a little background, non-citizens applying for certain immigration benefits while in the United States must go to an immigration doctor who fills out the form I-693 to show they are free from any conditions that would render them inadmissible under the health-related grounds of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Currently, USCIS considers a completed form I-693 medical form from the immigration doctor to retain its value for 2 years after the date the civil surgeon signed the form, as long as the date of the civil surgeon's signature is no more than 60 days before the applicant filed the application for the underlying immigration benefit, which is your adjustment of status. This is commonly referred to as the 60-day rule. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and related processing delays, USCIS has experienced delays in all aspects of operations, and applicants have also experienced difficulties beyond their control, including delays in completing the immigration medical examination. So in response, USCIS during COVID temporarily waived the requirement that the civil surgeon sign the form I-693, your medical record, no more than 60 days before the applicant files the underlying adjustment application. Now USCIS is removing that requirement permanently. Applicants and attorneys have consistently expressed concern that this requirement is confusing and necessitates RFEs to be issued for otherwise valid medical forms. So now the medical forms are valid for 2 years and no RFEs will be required as long as the medical was taken within 2 years at the time of the approval of the adjustment application. The guidance is effective immediately. It applies to all medical forms I-693 associated with applications for adjustment of status pending as of March 31st, 2023, regardless of when the application was filed or when the civil surgeon signed the medical forms. And the Department of State published its final rule on March 28th, raising most non-immigrant visa fees and the fee for border crossing cards for Mexican citizens over the age of 15. New fees from the State Department will go into effect May 30th, 2023. The fee changes are implemented by the rule are: the application processing fee for a B2 non-immigrant visa fee will be raised from $160 to $185. The application processing fee for H's, L's, O's, P's, Q's, and R's non-immigrant visas, they're going to be raised from $190 to $205. The fee for the E visa, that's your investor visa, that fee is going to be raised to $315 from $205. And the processing fee for border crossing cards for Mexican citizens over the age of 15 will be raised to $185 from $160. And the Biden administration is now going to allow immigrants seeking benefits to mark their gender identity without needing their documentation to match. The news release posted by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services on March 31st said the update to the immigration benefits policy is meant to clarify that immigrants do not need to submit proof of their gender identity when requesting to change their gender marker, except for those submitting a Form N-565, which is submitted by those applying for a replacement naturalization certificate or citizenship document. The release also states that the only gender markers available on their forms and documents are male and female, but the Department of Homeland Security is working to add an additional gender marker of X for another or unspecified gender identity. The clarification came on Transgender Day of Visibility. About a dozen states have enacted laws that ban gender-affirming care for minors, and the American Civil Liberties Union reports that 430 bills have been introduced in state legislatures during this legislative session that target LGBTQ individuals. Irina Kionis, executive director of the Texas nonprofit organization Doctors for Change, defined gender-affirming care as judgment-free, individualized care oriented toward understanding and appreciating a person's gender. Providers often work with counselors and family members to ensure they have everything they need to navigate the healthcare system. Under the gender-affirming model of care, more time is spent allowing kids to socially transition instead of focusing on medical treatment. A social transition consists of the steps a child takes to affirm their identity. Leading healthcare organizations, including the American Psychiatric Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, and others agree, and they say gender-affirming care is the best way to provide care for transgender children. And transgender people make up a considerable portion of the population of the United States. Over 1.6 million adults and youths identify as transgender in the United States. And the takeaway from all of this is you can now check off male, female, or X if you are something other than male or female, or you don't want to even say what you are. All right, so on March 30th, the Census Bureau reported the number of immigrants nearly tripled in the nation's 20 most populous counties from 2021 to 2022 as immigration returned to pre-pandemic levels nationally. But the data showed that many of these counties are still losing residents to suburbs and other regions of the country and are feeling the brunt of the nation's low birth rate. Los Angeles County in California, Cook County, which includes Chicago, Illinois, and the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens in New York all lost population, but the loss was much smaller than in 2021. And the census data shows that metro areas in the Sun Belt, including Phoenix, Houston, Dallas, and Tampa, continue to draw a large share of Americans who relocated. And we need to keep in mind the pandemic had an impact as well. The figures cover the 12 months ending on June 30th, 2022, when the virus was hitting one of its lethal peaks. Here are some of the biggest takeaways from the new data. Altogether, the nation's 20 largest counties gained more than 300,000 new residents between July 2021 and July 2022 through international immigration. For some counties, such as San Diego, Miami, and King County in Washington, which includes Seattle, immigration stabilized the population numbers, which otherwise would have decreased. For counties like Los Angeles, Brooklyn, New York, and Fulton counties in Atlanta, the decline slowed. For example, Los Angeles lost 90,000 residents in 2022, compared with 180,000 in 2021. Brooklyn's population fell by 47,000 in 2022 after falling by 82,000 in 2021. And many newcomers were drawn to big cities with more liberal immigration laws and long-standing immigrant enclaves. Theodore Moore, vice president of the New York Immigration Coalition, told the New York Times organization estimates that 50,000 migrants arrived in the New York metro area last year from countries such as Venezuela, Colombia, Haiti, and Cameroon, largely seeking asylum, and that another 20,000 Ukrainian refugees have also fled to New York City. Kenneth Johnson, a demographer at the University of New Hampshire, said because the country was aging and experiencing low fertility rates even before the emergence of COVID, the numbers point toward immigration as a key driver of future growth. That puts pressure on the country to integrate newcomers into the job market, housing, and schools. If places are going to grow, he noted, it's immigration that's going to help. The takeaway here is immigrants help the population of the United States grow. Without immigrants, our population would dwindle, which would directly affect the workforce in the U.S. I just did a TikTok video about immigrants in the United States. Someone wrote and said that people are running away from the United States. So I looked it up. I looked up the numbers. And there are 50 million immigrants living in the United States. That's 15% of the country's entire population. It is by far the largest immigrant population of any country in the world. The second closest is Germany with 13 million immigrants. And now a growing number of Chinese immigrants are crossing into the United States without papers, often taking difficult journeys through several countries and modes of transport and using social media as their guide. Ian Johnson, a senior fellow with the Council on Foreign Relations, says he thinks what we're seeing now are people who are more middle class, who just feel the opportunities are diminishing and that the political situation has just become a lot riskier. And so they're finding any method by hook or crook to get out of China. The United States Customs and Border Protection reported that in the past 5 months, at least 4,300 Chinese undocumented migrants have been apprehended crossing the southern border, which amounts to more than double the number for all the previous year. One immigrant spoke anonymously to MSNBC about his experience, saying he feared staying in China after speaking out against government corruption. Fearing further retribution after being jailed twice, he fled, following instructions left by those before him on Chinese social networking apps. Detailed guides, videos, and maps helped him make the journey all the way from China to the United States. He said, there's so much information, trust me, step by step on what to do. He said his journey took weeks and he traveled thousands of miles on planes, buses, boats, motorcycles, and on foot. Some social media posts even advise migrants to cross in California rather than in the South, as stricter immigration policies could mean worse treatment on arrival. Another man who left his family behind to make the initial journey said he has heard of others having to pay people for access to information like where to stay along the way and where it's best to cross over. He said the price of that information can range from a few thousand to tens of thousands of dollars. So, I mean, everybody, I've seen people trying to cross. We're now China. I've seen Russians, Ukrainians, everyone from South America, Europeans, Africans, just about everybody is, because Mexico is almost visa-free. Almost every country you can go to Mexico visa-free. So people are just flooding into Mexico and trying to cross over. On Friday, more than 60 asylum-seeking members of a Chinese Christian church who were detained last week in Thailand flew to the United States. Thai police on Wednesday said the 63 members of the Shenzhen Holy Reformed Church, also known as the Mayflower Church, would be deported within a week, likely to a third country. The U.S. Embassy has declined comment, but was involved, along with representatives of the United Nations Refugee Agency, in talks with Thai officials about the matter. The church members, who have been in Thailand since last September, were arrested last week in the seaside city of Pattaya for overstaying their visas. This was in Thailand. And the Thai authorities fined them. And then the Thai authorities took them to Bangkok, where they were detained in jail. Bob Fu, president of China Aid, a Texas-based Christian human rights organization, said finally the group arrived in Dallas, Texas on Friday evening. Fu said in a text message that also thanked the United States and Thai officials and activists. China Aid welcomes the landing of the persecuted Chinese Mayflower Church to freedom in America, and welcome to Texas. Christian church organizations have been working to resettle them in Texas, lobbying for their admittance to the United States and offering to host them. The church members have said they faced unbearable harassment in China. Christians in China are legally allowed to worship only in churches affiliated with Communist Party-controlled religious groups. But for decades, the authorities largely tolerated independent, unregistered house churches. They have tens of millions of worshipers, possibly outnumbering those in the official group. But in recent years, house churches have come under heavy pressure, with many prominent ones shut down. Prior to their arrival in Thailand, the Mayflower Church members fled to South Korea's Jeju Island in October 2019 and stayed there for nearly 3 years. They decided to leave after it became clear they had no prospect for refuge there. And how ironic, since Texas is trying to pass all of these immigration laws to find immigrants in Texas and deport them from a state level. But they welcome these refugees from China, but they will not but Texas, ironically, is not welcoming refugees crossing the border from Mexico. And U.S. citizens who are sponsoring family members to come to the United States are seeking to intervene in a case over a key immigration program that's been challenged in court by several Republican-led states. At the center of the case is the humanitarian parole program that provides a way for migrants from Nicaragua, Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba seeking to come to the United States to do so without taking the dangerous journey to the U.S.-Mexico border. Among the requirements migrants must meet is obtaining a sponsor in the United States. The use of the humanitarian parole program has become a key part of the Biden administration's broader strategy to try to stem the flow of migrants to the United States southern border. President Joe Biden has repeatedly touted the program and attributed a recent drop in border crossings to it, among other efforts. But in late January, Republican-led states filed a lawsuit against the humanitarian parole program, arguing that the Biden administration exceeded its authority in its use of the program and requesting the court to block it. The Justice Department is expected to defend the program. Now, U.S. citizens who are sponsoring family members, among others, to come to the United States under the humanitarian program are getting involved in the case to defend their interests and the public benefits of the program, the filing says. On March 29th, the Justice Action Center, along with RAICES, R-A-I-C-E-S, and UCLA's Center for Immigration Law and Policy submitted a court filing on behalf of the 7 citizens. Esther Sung, legal director at Justice Action Center, said they wanted to illustrate how these programs are being used by ordinary Americans in the United States. She said, I think our interveners demonstrate the breadth and range of types of people who can and want to engage with the immigration system. Valerie LeVeas, a Florida school teacher, is one of the 7 interveners trying to bring her brother and nephew who are living in dangerous conditions in Haiti to the United States. Other interveners include Frances Aruz, who's trying to reunite with her Nicaraguan husband, Eric Sipe, who plans to sponsor a friend from Nicaragua, and Nan Langowitz, who's sponsoring family members of a Venezuelan human rights advocate. The Biden administration has increasingly relied on parole to admit eligible migrants to the United States and drive down border crossings. The United States is committed to accepting up to 30,000 migrants per month from Nicaragua, Cuba, Haiti, and Venezuela, who have been arriving in large numbers under the parole program, while turning back those who cross the border unlawfully under a COVID-era border restriction. And we have an update on the Rochester Gonzalez family, whose story we have been following and who has appeared twice as guests on our show. For the past 5 years, Jason Rochester and his 10-year-old son, Ashton, have been living apart from Ashton's mother, Jason's wife of 16 years, Cecilia Gonzalez. The two met at work in the United States. Gonzalez now lives in Mexico after voluntarily leaving the United States in 2018 out of fear of deportation. During Gonzalez's time away, 9-year-old Ashton endured a battle with cancer. He and Rochester see Gonzalez once or twice a year during the summer. Rochester is supporting the American Families United Act, H.R. 1698, a bill that would allow U.S. citizens to request a case-by-case waiver for non-citizen family members to live in the United States. If the bill passes, it would grant immigration judges and officials authority to weigh the impact that family separation would have on a United States citizen if their undocumented spouse or child were denied a visa or received a deportation order, and to grant these families relief. On March 22nd, Jason and Ashton were on Capitol Hill for the reintroduction of the American Families United Act to the House of Representatives. They joined Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, the chief sponsor of the legislation, who said, fundamentally, this bill is about ensuring that families can be together and participate in the American dream, and that the United States government does not continue to stand in their way. According to American Families United, a volunteer-led organization of U.S. citizens with family members who could not secure lawful status because of eligibility bars, an estimated 700,000 U.S. citizens, 700,000 Americans have experienced family separation as their spouse was refused a visa or was deported from the United States. According to recent statistics, more than 22 million people, 1 in 20 people in the United States of America, live in mixed status households. Some 10.6 million U.S. citizens, including 5.8 million U.S. citizen children, live in households with someone who is undocumented. And nearly 1.7 million U.S. citizen children have a spouse, U.S. citizens, not children, but 1.7 million U.S. citizens have a spouse who is undocumented. Legislation like the American Families United Act would provide relief and certainty to these families. A bill died in the House in 2022 after it ran out of time to pass. According to the group American Families United, the bill has also received pushback from some Republicans in Congress as well. If it passes this time, relatives with a criminal history or those considered to pose a security threat would not be allowed to return to the United States. Rochester said the bill's latest version has more bipartisan support and bigger backing from large organizations. I will continue to update you on the progress of the American Families United Act, H.R. 1698, and the case of Cecilia Gonzalez. I really hope it passes. And I have another update on one of our former Brad Show Live guests, Reina Abdelmaid. Reina is an Egyptian-American woman from Queens, New York, who took the experience of a man trying to rip her hijab off her head when she was 15 years old to training in self-defense and eventually creating her organization, Malika, a global movement advocating against gender and hate-based violence. Reina was also a finalist at L'Oreal Women of Worth and served on the board of Amnesty International. And now we have Reina Ramadan news. This year, Ramadan began on Thursday, March 23rd, and lasts until Friday, April 21st. It is a holy month of daytime fasting, introspection, and renewal for Muslims. During this month, the daily prayers become especially important. The calls to prayer typically last between 3 to 5 minutes and are called 5 times a day, with the first one starting before the sun rises. In Astoria, Queens, just in time for Ramadan, the mosques, Masjid Dar al-Dawa, Masjid al-Iman, Astoria Islamic Center, and Majd el-Ber received the neighborhood's first ever permits to broadcast calls to prayer from the street. The prayers being played outside of the mosques has been greeted with enthusiasm by the neighborhood Muslim community with little to no pushback. As far as I'm aware, it's the first time that any neighborhood has allowed this to happen, certainly in New York. Reina is the person who submitted applications on behalf of all 4 mosques to the local 114th precinct. She said that the permits will last until the end of Ramadan, but that she hopes and expects they will become permanent after that. Reina told thecity.com that the Astoria permits begin with the second prayer of the day at some time between noon and 1 p.m., and said she likened it to church bells, and that for Muslims, when we pray 5 times a day, it's really important for us to be able to hear the call to prayer. Today, according to the 2021 American Community Survey, estimates nearly 4,000 immigrants from Bangladesh, another 2,000 from Egypt, and more than 1,000 from Morocco live in Astoria, with many of them just a few blocks from one of these mosques. So congratulations to Reina, the Muslim community in Astoria, Queens. Happy Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak. And America's space agency has assembled its first moon squad in more than 50 years. On April 3rd, during a ceremony in Houston, NASA announced the crew boarding the next mission, Artemis 2, that includes 3 Americans and 1 Canadian. It's the first time someone from outside the United States joins the team. It's also the first time a woman and a person of color are assigned to a lunar mission. The mission commander, Reed Wiseman, will be joined by Victor Glover, an African-American naval aviator, Christina Cook, who holds the world record for the longest spaceflight by a woman, and Canada's Jeremy Hansen, a former fighter pilot and the crew's lone space rookie. Wiseman, Glover, and Cook all lived on the International Space Station. The 4 astronauts are expected to embark on a 10-day journey around the moon and back in November. If all goes well, NASA says it plans to land 2 astronauts on the moon in 2025. On April 5th, the crew appeared on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. When Colbert asked Christina Cook to explain what the overview effect is, she said, "The overview effect is when you're looking down on the Earth and see that the Earth as it exists with the whole universe in the background. You see the thin blue line of the atmosphere. And then when you're on the dark side of the Earth, you actually see this very thin green line that shows you where the atmosphere is." And then what she said really resonated with us as an immigration show.
And what you realize is every single person you know is sustained and inside of that green line, and everything else outside of it is completely inhospitable. You don't see borders, you don't see religious lines, you don't see political boundaries. All you see is Earth, and you see that we're way more alike than we are different.
And that resonates with us, and that is our schmooze for the day. Before we get into our meat and potatoes, which is me answering your immigration questions, if you call 1-800-529-5465, we do want to share this Spar and Bernstein success story with you. Graham, he filed for his citizenship, and after he had filed for his citizenship, he was put in removal proceedings because he had an arrest from the 1980s. He came to Spar and Bernstein for help, and today we can happily say he's a United States citizen. We spoke to Graham and his wife, Anthea, right before his naturalization ceremony. Let's watch.
I'm accompanying my husband to get his naturalization for citizenship. I feel very excited. It's the end of a long process.
It was a very delicate procedure, and then it wasn't that delicate.
So Graham came to Spar and Bernstein several years ago because he had filed for his citizenship, and after he had filed for the citizenship, he was put in removal proceedings because he had an arrest from the 1980s. He's been a green card holder since the 1980s, and he didn't even know what the consequences were. There was a fire in his house, and someone had passed, and he ended up having a criminal case for that. It was deemed by immigration as something called a crime of moral turpitude. And as a result of having one crime of moral turpitude within the first 5 years of getting your green card, he was put in removal proceedings. Because it was from the 1980s and he had been a green card holder for a certain amount of time, we were able to file something called a 212C waiver from immigration, and that was granted. After the waiver was granted, we refiled for the citizenship, and then he got it.
I'm thankful, very thankful that it's over and that it's reached the conclusion it did.
We're both from Barbados. I was a green card holder, and shortly after, I applied for citizenship. Now I'm here with my husband.
I would recommend to anyone sits trying to get the status to use Spar and Bernstein.
They go the extra mile to help you attain your status, your green card, your citizenship.
Whatever you're working on. We're happy. We can go to wherever we want to go and enjoy it. Thanks to Spar and Bernstein. And thanks to Emily. Emily was always there for us.
Yes, I am. Don't get excited too easily, but today is a great day, and I can't wait until he gets his certificate.
All right, so we're going to go to our meat and potatoes now. You got a question, and hopefully I got your answers for you. And you've got a question. I've got your answers. Let's do it. All right, so our first caller we got Loy from Raleigh, North Carolina. Loy.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, so I got a question. So,
Sure.
my husband filed for my 2 kids, and they were approved. The I-130 were approved, but for some reason, he's holding on to whatever he got from the NVC, and I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else can I do.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, he's the petitioner, so you
Yes,
can't force anybody to do it.
Okay.
What's going on with you and your husband? Obviously, it's an issue in your relationship, which is why he's not completing your children's cases. So he's trying to hurt. He's trying to hurt you.
He's trying to hurt me. Yes.
Well, and really, he's actually hurting children, hurting mother too, but he's really hurting children. What's going on with you and your husband? Why is he trying to hurt you so much?
So, for not saying so much, I've been with him for 3 years, but marriages break down.
Okay.
He's somebody that follows stories from you meet him day one. If you just want to have an argument today, he builds back everything from all the way back.
Lloyd,
kind of person.
Do you have a green card?
Yes, I do. But I filed my I-175, so I have it in.
Okay. So with a green card, you can file for your children, even removing the conditions.
I know.
File an I-130 for them.
Go ahead.
File the I-130 for them.
Okay, yes, I will.
And then you may want to consider whether it's worthwhile to stay in this relationship if your husband's trying to hurt you this much. You know, maybe you want to consider getting a divorce and then doing the I-751 based on a waiver. You don't have to stay in an unhappy marriage.
It's already in and I got 48 months.
I understand that. You may very well get an interview. So I'm thinking you called about your children, and now I'm thinking about your case. And you may not get an interview for 2 or 3 years from now. And if your husband is not willing to sponsor your children, it's likely he's not willing to show up on an interview. It's likely that if you get an interview and you're doing it based on a bona fide marriage, you would be denied. So because your husband's not going to help. So in these situations, you think in advance. Don't wait till the end. You got to think 3 steps ahead. So you get a divorce. If he's not willing to help you, he doesn't love you, there's no reason to stay in an unhappy marriage just to keep a green card, which actually you're staying in an unhappy marriage to try to keep a green card. It's going to screw you over. So my advice would be get a divorce and move on with your life. And when you get a divorce, you can convert your immigration case to a waiver case. Take your husband off the case. He has no control over it anymore. And then what you have, and then he doesn't have to show up to an interview. He's not required to show up to an interview. You go to the interview alone. So whether he shows up or not, you're going to get through. And how you get through is you have to prove 2 things. 1, you're divorced. And 2, back in the day, not today, back in the day, me and my husband lived together.
Yes, I still live here.
That would be a smarter move. All right. And if you want some help, then just hold on 1 second, and maybe we want to talk off the air, okay? And also file for your children. Put in the I-130. But you can't force anybody to do something they don't want to do. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Mohammed where's Mohammed? Dumfries, Virginia. Yep. Mohammed.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Brad, how you doing? This is Mohammed Hassan. So I have a case. I'm a green card holder. I filed for my wife in Islamabad, Pakistan, I think 4 years ago, and she got her I-130 approved in March. Our priority date is 24th March 2019. So she got documentally qualified in 28 December 2020, but we had a baby recently. I'm still a green card holder. In October, and I added him to the as a derivative beneficiary, and it changed the priority date. It changed the DQ date. So I'm about to become about 5 years now in the U.S., and I'm about to pursue my citizenship. So my question is, what is the best route for me to go? Either I should
Well, I wouldn't do citizenship at this point until your wife and kid get their green cards, because if you become a citizen in 6 months, then your child comes off the case, and then you have to file a new I-130 for that child. Your wife, I'm sure, is not going to want to leave Pakistan and leave your kid behind. So now think about all these years you waited for your wife. It's Pakistan. They delay Pakistan forever. So as soon as you have to file for your child, you've now delayed everybody another 3 years by having to file for your son again. So you're this close.
Yep, but the DQ date got changed, Brad. Does that affect the whole immigration case? Because her DQ date was first in December 2020 now.
Because you got sent to the back of the line. But it's better to be in the back of the line waiting for an interview in Pakistan than starting a new I-130 all over for your child.
I see. If I file an expedite request, can I do that?
Good luck on that.
I see. So
I say good luck on that. I doubt it would be approved. Your best bet, you have a choice. What's more important to you? Is it more important to become a U.S. citizen, or is it more important to get your family here? Because if it's more important to get your family here, my advice is don't do your citizenship right now.
I see. Can I withhold them? I remember there was an option back in the day where you can get your citizenship, but you can withhold them in the F2A category if you request the NVC.
No.
No. Okay. I see. So then there's no option but to just wait and wait for the baby. My friend was advising me that I shouldn't have added the baby until she got her interview call. Then we should have told then we see that there's a baby and added him at that point.
No, that would have put it back to, so it wouldn't matter.
I see. That's even better. Should I just wait for it now?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
If you need help, hold on. Let's go to Shanika in Poughkeepsie. Shanika.
Hi, Brad.
Hi, Shanika.
So, I recently got married to a born U.S. citizen, and I would like to begin the process for adjustment of status.
You're breaking up. You married a U.S. citizen and you want to file an adjustment, you said, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But my issue is that his first name is not on his birth certificate. And we were told that we would have to obtain a court order to have this issue corrected. But the court order takes forever. So I was wondering if there's any other, solution.
What is on his birth certificate? Just his last name?
Just his last name, and it says male, and then his last name.
And does he have a
where his
passport?
first name should be, it says male.
Does he have a passport?
No.
Does he have a driver's license?
Yes, he does.
And he has school records?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think you have to change his birth certificate. I think we can prove who he is.
Okay.
He has tax returns. All right. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I mean, because to go and add a name and change a birth certificate, that's going to take a long time. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ricardo in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Ricardo. Ricardo going once. Ricardo going twice. We'll put Ricardo on hold. Let's go to Naomi in Seattle, Washington. Naomi.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
So I applied for a change of status from J1 to B2, and they approved my notice. I received a mail, but the dates are from the 23rd of March, no, the 24th of March to the 25th of March.
You got approved for a tourist visa for 1 day? Tourist visa status for 1 day?
Yeah, that's the date they wrote, but I had asked for 6 months.
Of course. How long ago did you file?
I filed last year in July.
That's why.
And they only
because you asked for 6 months from July to January. So it took them more than 6 months to approve your case. So when they approved it, they just gave you 1 day because they said basically you've been in legal status this whole time. And they're giving you 1 more day. And now you're out of status. They screwed you.
So they only approved it now?
You got screwed. Because you said in July, I want to change my stay to a tourist for 6 months. And you stayed well beyond 6 months. So you stayed for 9 months until you got an approval. And the law doesn't say you get to stay here in the United States till the government decides to approve your case. If you said 6 months, you should have left in 6 months. And then in March, when you got that extension, you never violated your status. So now the fact that you stayed 9-10 months waiting on this approval, and they sent back 1 day, basically they're saying you weren't here to be a tourist. You were using this B2 to stay here forever. So they gave you 1 day, and now you're screwed. You're out of status. You should have left 3 months ago. Hold on. You're undocumented right now. Hold on. Let's go to Shanice in New York. Shanice. Hi, Shanice. Hi, Shanice. Shanice going once, twice, 3. Put her on hold. Let's go to Gabby in Charlotte, North Carolina. Gabby.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What can I do to help you?
So
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Long story short, I arrived in 2012 on a tourist visa. I applied for adjustment of status 6 months after to change to a student visa. It was denied. They asked for more information. I didn't provide, so they denied. So obviously I overstayed. Now I'm about to apply because I'm getting married. I'm applying for a green card, and I want to know, first one question. I am scared of applying, requesting a FOIA. Is that a problem requesting myself a FOIA just to make sure I don't have a deportation letter or anything?
You wouldn't necessarily. I doubt you have a deportation letter, and there's nothing scary about requesting a FOIA.
Okay.
But I don't think you have a deportation order based on what you told me.
I just heard before that during Trump era, maybe.
No. Where are you from?
Charlotte. Oh,
No.
well, originally Brazil.
Brazil. Okay. You're married to a U.S. citizen?
We are about to get married. Yes.
All right. Get married. You file your adjustment. You can certainly request a FOIA. Nothing bad will happen to you by requesting a FOIA.
Okay.
I would say.
And I have just one more question about that.
Let me just finish my sentence, but I will not hang up on you. I'll let you ask that other question. I would say the odds that you got put in deportation because your change of status was denied are like 1 in 100,000, literally. So
okay.
I wouldn't lose sleep over it, but yeah, do a FOIA. Nothing bad will happen to you. Doesn't cost anything, but I don't think you have anything to worry about. Get married, you file your adjustment. What's your other question?
During the time that I applied for the student adjustment of status, obviously I was working. I said on the form I wasn't. And I know that on I-485 has a question asking if you ever lied, concealed, misrepresented for a visa. I'm assuming I have to be honest and say yes.
Yes, and you will be denied for misrepresentation. And then you need a waiver.
So they will request the waiver, yes. Okay.
And you're going to need a good lawyer now.
Okay.
Don't do it on your own.
Thank you so much.
Hear me out. Don't do a waiver on your own.
I am.
Okay? Because if you do a waiver on your own, you'll be denied.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you to hire me, but you need a good lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brett.
All right. Let's go to Donna in Manhattan. Donna.
Hi, Brad. Good afternoon.
Donna.
Okay. I've been a citizen in America here about 6 years now, but I want to go back home to Jamaica. I want to go down, spend some time, come back up, and then finally give up my citizenship. Okay. How long can I stay in Jamaica?
Forever.
Being an American citizen?
Forever.
Forever?
Forever. What do you want to do with your citizenship?
Brad, I reach a stage now where I can't work no more, and I don't want to stay here and just keep paying rent.
So go home and keep your passport. Just go back to Jamaica. You're a Jamaican citizen too. Go back to Jamaica, and you could live in Jamaica for the rest of your life. Keep your U.S. passport valid. You may want to use it one day.
Okay, let me ask you. Somebody was saying to me that when I'm going down, I could use my Jamaican passport in going down. I use my American passport in coming up. Is that true?
Yes.
I can do that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. But you don't give it up. Just go live in Jamaica. Angela in the Bronx.
I can do that.
Hi, Brad. Good afternoon. I have a few questions.
Yes.
I was married to a U.S. citizen. I got my green card. We had buy a van and he mashed it up and he moved out and gone live with somebody else.
What do you mash up?
We bought a van.
Oh, a van. Okay. And he smashed it up. Okay.
Yeah. So he mashed it up and he didn't want me to fix it. And I said, no, I'm not fixing it. He don't help with anything. So he moved out and go live with someone else. So we got a divorce and everything. So I put in my paper by VAWA to waive my conditional of green card.
Mm-hmm.
And And yeah, and so I wonder if I got married I think a month ago. So I don't know if that's gonna cause a problem.
No, you getting married won't cause a problem, but you have to complete the I-751 process before you do anything. You married another U.S. citizen?
No, it's a Jamaican. I did the process because I get 48 months.
I understand that. You still you have to remove the conditions of your residence and get it approved, and now have been a resident for more than 5 years before you can file for anybody else.
Oh.
So you still have to get that case approved. All right?
Okay.
And if you need help with that, hold on. If you've been waiting for 4 years already. Sounds like a long time. Hold on. Let's go to Timothy in Brooklyn. Timothy.
How you been, sir?
Hi, how are you?
Good. I've been following you on YouTube and Facebook for a while, but I tried to get your number, but I'm lucky today to have the number.
But you have the number because you just called the show. It's the same telephone number.
That's what I'm saying. I said before I didn't have it, but today, as
got
I
it.
was going through, I have it today. That's why I called.
Great.
Okay, my problem is that I come into United States in 2007 at a Chattanooga ministry conference. So, and during the time when I was coming, it was church that prepared my paper for consular. And as at that very time, I've already divorced in 2006. But as at that very time, the secretary was preparing my D60. He put married. So I myself, I did not know until when I wanted to file for my naturalization. So it was there, they got to know that I put married when I went off. Whereas the consular didn't ask me whether I'm married or not married as at that very time, because it doesn't spend.
It doesn't matter. Somebody filled out the form on your behalf. You signed it. You said married when you were divorced. And that's a misrepresentation. And the reason why that's a misrepresentation is because it is more likely to get a visa to come to the United States if you are married than if you're divorced. And the person who filled out that application for you knew that. Okay, it wasn't an honest mistake. That was a deliberate mistake. Because I've never seen an application where somebody is married and claims single. It's always they're single and claim married, and fake marriages or claim they're not divorced, and it's all to try to get more likelihood to get a visa. So that you needed a waiver when you got your green card. You never applied for it. And now the government's saying you lied twice. You lied at the embassy and you lied a second time when you applied for your green card. And on the application, there's a question that says, have you ever made a misrepresentation? You wrote no. And the answer really is yes. And it was all discovered. It was all discovered when you became a citizen. So now there's issues that you have. Government says you don't have a green card, although you do. They're not recognizing your residence, although you are a resident.
Mr. Brad, please just give me 1 minute. So, because I did not have an attorney, I always go through online. I did it myself. That was my greatest problem. The same thing, I was given a permanent resident in 2012. So it lapsed last year. So I applied for I-90 for replacement, and they sent paper to me for extension for 2 years. I'm still waiting on the result of the I-90. I didn't hear anything, but now I'm planning, because my mom passed away, I have to travel out of the country. And according to the paper given to me, that I'm still lawfully permanent resident.
Yeah, you can travel, and when you come back, they'll either admit you or they will admit you and say, we want to put you in removal and give you a notice to appear to go for an immigration judge. And then you would need to file a waiver in court to overcome all of this, which we can help you with.
I hope I will not be detained.
I can never guarantee you that. If you're detained, it would only be for hours. You're not going to sit in immigration jail. But you may be put in removal when you return. But it's a good thing because you can get a waiver in removal. Those waivers are easy. 212A1H waiver.
What state? I will not hesitate to travel down because I don't have any Anthony, and I will not. It doesn't cost me anything to come to your office because I have to sit down with you so that I can do everything. Can I have the address, your real address, where you located, so that I can come over there?
Yeah, you just don't show up. You need to call. You need to make an appointment. So hold on one second, okay? My address is 225 Broadway. Just don't show up, though. I won't see if you just show up. You need to make an appointment. Let's go to Tony in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, good evening. How are you doing, Brad?
Hi, Tony.
Yeah. Please, I called you last time to ask about my case, whereby I learned that my wife reported to USCIS that I married her for papers or something.
Mm-hmm.
I got to know about it on my second interview, which they asked me. I explained to them that it was nothing like that. I married her for real, and we lived together for 2 years.
Right.
They said they're gonna review the case and get back to me. So, like in the investigation, or maybe for them trying to find out, can they be able to call me and my ex-wife to ask us questions, or they can call her privately to ask her based on what she told them last time? Like, I don't know how.
They can do whatever they want.
What do you say?
They can do whatever they want. Maybe they'll call you together. Maybe they'll call your wife separately. Who knows? But she already said she wrote a letter saying it was a business marriage. Why do you think she would say anything different if they called again?
Okay. That's because I've been waiting for them for like more than 2 months now. That's the second interview.
Tony.
Yeah.
Somebody accuses you of marriage fraud. You can never get a green card ever for the rest of your life, and you're going to get deported. If somebody accuses you of marriage fraud and it was not a marriage fraud, you should be fighting tooth and nail. Get a good lawyer. Don't wait.
Okay.
Nikki in Montgomery, Alabama. Nikki in Montgomery, Alabama.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I have a question. So my parents is a citizen, right? They became a citizen in 1996. And
yes.
And I was only 17 years old. So do that make me automatically a citizen?
Were you a green card holder at that time?
Yes.
And you said both parents were citizens?
Yes.
And you lived in the United States with them?
Yes.
You are a U.S. citizen.
And okay, I kind of figured that I was a citizen because I tell everybody I'm a citizen.
You are.
Now my only thing is I lost my green card, and that's supposed to be like my birth certificate.
Well, no, your green card's not your birth certificate. Your green card's a green card. All right. So what you need to do is file for a certificate of citizenship. And the certificate of citizenship, you need to prove that your parents were citizens before you were 18 and that you had a green card before you were 18. You can get all of those records by doing Freedom of Information Act requests for both your parents' records and your records, and then take the relevant documents from the Freedom of Information Act requests, file it with the certificate of citizenship. You'll get a certificate of citizenship, and you can take that certificate of citizenship and get a U.S. passport. And now you will have two pieces of evidence that you're a citizen, which is your certificate of citizenship and your passport. But your birth certificate is still your birth certificate.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. If you
So,
you, you
so
need help.
where do I go?
To
Do I
me,
go to
me,
form?
to me, to me. All right, because if you're walking around thinking your green card, your birth certificate, you need a lawyer to help you at this point. Hold on one second. Scott in Bluffton, South Carolina. Scott.
Hi, Brad. Thanks for taking my call. I'm calling really for my wife, and our questions have to do with the N600 application. She's been a green card holder for now 35 plus years. We've been married for about 35 years. And we recently found out that she is really already a U.S. citizen by the way of derivation. I think I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started going through the application, and we noticed, okay, we need to prove physical presence for her mom. But then we read again and says, no, we don't need to. So we're just trying to get some clarification on.
There's about 100 different rules on derivative citizenship. So I would need to know the facts of your particular wife's situation. Was her mother or father a U.S. citizen when she was born?
No.
Okay. Did her mother or father become a U.S. citizen before she was 18?
Yeah, her mom did. Her dad died. So her mom is.
Her dad died before she was 18.
Yes.
And her mother became a U.S. citizen before she was 18.
Yes.
And she had a green card?
Yeah, she had a green card when she first came.
When did she first come?
This is my wife you're talking?
Of course.
She's like 13 years, so 13 years old. So
and how old was she when mom became a citizen?
She was just under, she was 17.
Under 17. Okay. And how old is your wife now?
She is, I should know this, 54.
Okay. So she falls under old citizenship laws. She is a U.S. citizen. It has nothing to do with physical presence requirements for her mother. Those rules apply if you're claiming derivative citizenship because your mother was a citizen when you were born, and you were born a U.S. citizen in another country. What she's claiming derivative citizenship is that her mother naturalized, and she was the only parent, and she was living with her only parent at the time as a green card holder. So what you would have to prove is, 1, she had a green card before she was 18. 2, mom became a citizen before she was 18. 3, dad passed away before 18. And 4, she lived with mom.
Okay, and that's kind of what we're trying to gather. So you've clarified a couple of things. Thank you. As far as does my wife need to give any information on her going back to or leaving the country for any reason?
No.
Okay, and
I just told you the 4 things you need: proof she had a green card, proof she lived with mom, proof mom was a citizen before 18, proof dad died before 18. That's it. 4 things.
Okay.
Nothing more. I've now unconfused. There's nothing else you need.
Okay. All right. If we can't get proof that she was living with her mom, is it just a letter that someone needs to write and get notarized?
Is there a school?
Yeah, we've called the school. We've done a few things, and it's like there's no address on there. We've got her high school graduation, but that doesn't say that, the address of the school. It doesn't show. It doesn't show the address of the mom.
It's okay, because actually under the old immigration laws, you don't really have to prove that you resided with the mother. That's actually new laws after 2001. I was just actually telling that to you because I know the immigration officer is going to confuse the old and new laws, so it's just easier. But if you don't have it, it's fine. Proof that she was a resident, proof that her mom was a citizen before 18, and proof dad passed. It's more than
proof that dad passed. One last question, which I'm sure you get all the time, is what happens if her green card expires while we're waiting for the N600 to process? Does she need to worry?
It doesn't matter, because she's been a citizen since she was 16.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Let's go to Lisa in Dallas, Texas.
600 to process.
Lisa.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, hi, Brad. So my question, so I'm a U.S. citizen, and I am married to my spouse who is 31 years old, and he obtained his DACA in his 20s after overstaying his visa from legal entry with inspection. But he still has his I-94 and stamp passport as proof, and all his records are clean. He's a professor.
Okay, great.
So we got married July last year. Do we have to wait 3 years before applying for his adjustment of status? And is it going to be a green card or immediately citizenship?
Who said you have to wait 3 years?
For some reason, all of our friends are telling us that we usually have to wait 3 years because we have to show that we've been together.
Stop listening to your friends. The day you get married, if it's a real marriage, file the adjustment application. He's not going to become a citizen until he gets a green card. So there's no reason to delay. File an adjustment application immediately, and he will get a green card. 3 years after he has a green card, he could apply for citizenship.
Okay, 3 years later. And so is it going to be a 485 that we'll have to submit? And is it just me, the citizen, submitting the application, or would it have to be?
It's an adjustment. It's an adjustment package. You have an I-45, an I-130, I-130A, I-864, I-765, I-131. You have supporting documentation. You have to submit proof of bona fides of the marriage, which is proof you live together and have a financial relationship. The bare minimum, have a consultation because, it's apparent you're not sure what to do and you're getting bad advice from friends. So that not knowing what to do and getting bad advice from friends is recipe for disaster. So hold on 1 second, all right?
Okay.
All right. So let's go to Michael in Irvington, New Jersey. Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hey, good afternoon, Brad.
How you doing?
I'm good. How is the squad?
So far, so good.
My question is, I'm a U.S. citizen, but my two daughters are from another country. They're not 18. I've filled up their form already, I didn't send it.
You said your daughters are in Haiti.
Not Haiti.
Oh.
No, they're St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
And Guyana, South America.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah, so I filled their form already, but I didn't send it in because someone said they think I can apply to the U.S. embassy in that country to get them a passport. So I just want to know if that is true or not.
Well, only if you were a citizen when they were born.
Okay. No. Okay.
If you were not a citizen when they were born, then you got to file an I-130 for that.
No. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's it. And good afternoon to the squad.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah.
All right. So that is our meat and potatoes for the day. I do have to remind everybody to follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. You can drop me a question there. I don't always look at it every day, but eventually I will get back to you on that. You can also follow us at Bradshaw Live. You don't like 2 hours of Brad, but you can handle 30 seconds of Brad. Then follow us at Bradshaw Live on Instagram. You can also follow us on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, you can leave your question in the comment section. And if you're lucky enough for me to read it, I will leave you a video answering your question for the entire world to see. You can also follow us on Twitter, also for the best of Bradshaw Live. We give you all sorts of ways to do it. And of course, don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our show on YouTube so you can see our show every time it comes live on Mondays. Right now, I want to throw you back to a little video we did previously about personal injury. Spar Bernstein does handle personal injury claims as well as immigration cases. And last week in our personal injury department, video series, I explained New York is a no-fault state, meaning that regardless of who has caused the accident, your insurance company will cover the medical expenses resulting from the injury within the coverage limits. Today, I'm going to explain what the deadline is for filing a no-fault claim, what a serious injury is according to New York State, why a serious injury is important in a motor vehicle accident, and when you should file your motor vehicle accident claim. Let's watch. You must file your no-fault claim with your insurance company within 30 days of the accident. According to the New York State insurance law, a serious injury includes death, significant disfigurement, dismemberment, fracture, loss of a fetus, permanent loss of a use of a body organ, member, function, or system, permanent consequential limitation of a body organ or member, a significant limitation of use of a body system or function, or any medically determined injury or impairment of a non-permanent nature which prevents the injured person from performing substantially all of the material acts which constitute such person's usual and customary daily activities for not less than 90 days during the 180 days immediately following the occurrence of the injury or impairment. In New York, you have 3 years from the date of the accident to file a lawsuit for pain and suffering and economic loss in a motor vehicle accident against third parties. In addition, you must file for no-fault benefits, which includes reimbursement for lost wages and medical bills, within 30 days from the date of the accident. After this period expires, you lose the right to seek compensation. If you're communicating directly with the insurance company, the negotiation process may take several years. That is why having an experienced legal attorney by your side is crucial to filing a claim and securing a settlement. In New Jersey, you should file a motor vehicle claim within 2 years. Contact us at Spar & Bernstein for a free consultation regarding your case. We'll discuss your options and your next steps. All right, we're going to get into our social media check-in right now. And as always, our first questions come from our VIP group page on Facebook at Bradshaw Live. If you want to have your social media questions answered first on Bradshaw Live, join us in our Facebook group page, Bradshaw Live, and leave your questions there. Ernie Gustavo Rodriguez left an encyclopedic question, but we're going to answer it because he is a VIP member of the Brad Squad. Hi, Brad. My dad had a labor certification submitted before April 30th, 2001. We came to the country in 1999 and have been here since. For that initial process, we had a notario work our case, and needless to say, it didn't go very far. He passed away a couple of years after 2001. In 2009, we started a process with a new sponsor. We had a Department of Labor approval notice for unskilled workers, and I-140 was filed. The I-140 was denied in 2011 due to the sponsor not being able to sustain the wage. I'm not sure why the immigration attorney did not check the taxes or if the sponsor was a good sponsor before starting the process. It's now been 10 years. It seems like my dad has found a better sponsor. Does he have to start the process from scratch with the Department of Labor? Since then, he and my mom have divorced. I know all derivative beneficiaries can apply through 245I. Myself and my siblings are still single. Can we be put on the application? Does my mother have her own process, and does that entail her going through the Department of Labor process as well and finding her own sponsor? And my siblings as well. I know it's a loaded question. Thank you for answering. Well, Ernie, you are 245I because any labor application that's filed and approved makes you 245I. Anyone who's derivative of that is 245I2, provided the application's filed before April 30th, 2001, and you were physically present December 21st, 2000. So you, your mom, who now divorced your dad, and all your siblings are all 245I. Your dad has to start over from scratch because all his previous labor applications were denied. When he starts all over from scratch, he's divorced from mom, so mom's not on that case. And you and your siblings, I presume, are over 21. So you are not on that case. So if your dad gets sponsored in a job, the only one who will get a green card through that job sponsorship under 245I is your dad. Can you do your own labor application and then adjust your status under 245I? Yes. Can your siblings? Yes. Can your mom? Yes, because you are all 245I. But you can no longer bootstrap yourself as derivatives on your dad's case because mom and dad are divorced and you are all over 21. So basically everybody needs a new case, but you're all 245I. Lawrence and DB asks a question, also from Brad Squad VIP. I hear some other lawyers say wait 60 days before you marry, and you say 90. What is the clear, correct amount of days, and what is the difference of 60 or 90 days before somebody gets married? Let me be very clear. It's 90 days. If you come on a visitor's visa and you get married in less than 90 days, there is a presumption that you entered the United States to get a green card as a visitor, and you committed a misrepresentation. If you get married between days 60 and 90, there's a rebuttable presumption. What that means is that the immigration officer will say, you came here to get married. You're a liar, misrepresentation. And you will have to argue that, no, that's not true. I came here to visit and something happened and I changed my mind and I decided to get married. You're taking a chance by making that argument. Immigration officer may believe you, may not believe you. You may be lying, you may be telling the truth, who knows? You're now leaving it to the discretion of the immigration officer to determine whether you get a green card or not, whether you're lying or telling the truth. Don't leave it up to the discretion of the immigration officer. Get married after 90 days. Now there's no discretion anymore. The immigration officer, as long as it's a bona fide marriage, has to give you a green card. I can't be any more clear. I believe any lawyer who tells you it's okay to get married in 60 days is not giving you good advice. And Bint Uzman. I'm at the National Visa Center stage. My husband is a U.S. citizen. We have a son together who will be migrating with me as well. I have a daughter from a previous marriage who will be accompanying us also. Should we add our son to my I-864 application? Also, can I do an I-864W for my daughter instead of an I-864? Well, Bint, no, the answer is no. Because the I-864 application is just for you, because your children are not included on the application that your husband filed for you. So the only one who's getting their green card is you. If you want your children to accompany you and your husband's a U.S. citizen, your husband has to file separate I-130 visa petitions for each of them. So by you including your children on I-864, that's not getting them their green cards. When a U.S. citizen husband files for a wife, the U.S. citizen husband has to file separate I-130 visa petitions for each of his children. All right, let's check out what's going on in our comment section now. Santiago Alvarez asks, hi, Brad. I have a VAWA case and asylum case. They are both pending. No one's approved yet. Can I apply for an advanced parole? And do you need an urgent reason to apply to advanced parole? Or what's some of the reasons? Any valid reason to travel is a reason to get advanced parole. Just don't travel back to the country where you're claiming asylum from, because then the government may say you're lying. Navdeep Rajput, can I travel on an I-51 stamp on my passport? Immigration judge granted my adjustment status. Yes, you can, as long as it's valid. Enjoy your trip, and congratulations. Top Damar, when getting an RFE, does it mean denial after answer? RFE means request for more evidence. It means that you have not submitted enough evidence for an approval. They're giving you an opportunity to fix that problem. That's what it means. Shanice Tate, Hi, good day. I got married 5 months ago. Should I file for my I-130, I-45, and I-765 at once, or should I file one at a time? You file all at once, one application together. If you file an I-130 separately from the I-45, you're just delaying your case. I-130, I-45, I-765 together. Jermaine Chambers, I filed the I-45, the I-765, the I-131 in July of 2022. I got an RFE and sent the response back to USCIS in September 22. And since then, I haven't heard back. When will I get my EAD card? You'll get your EAD card about 6 to 8 months after September 2022 because your adjustment case was not properly filed till September 2022. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's when you will get it. Manoj Rodex. My VAW was approved in August 2022, and currently my field office is Kansas. One, I got an RFE for Chicago rather than Kansas. That means is my interview waived? It's possible. They are waiving interviews now because everything is so backed up. It's possible. Depends on how you respond to that RFE. WizTech. Can you get a work permit if you are working for a family LLC trucking company? I don't know. I don't know anything about you, WizTech. I need to know a lot more. Pash Shabel. Hi, Brad. My spouse became DACA in his 20s after overstaying his visa from entry level with inspection. All his records are clean. We married in July 22. Oh, I answered this question. This woman called before. The answer is file now. Don't wait the 3 years. Golden Spoon. How long does it take for a lawyer to request my files from USCIS to look if there's any problem with my filing, which was done by a next lawyer? If you USCIS FOIA takes 90 to 120 days. Kim. Hi, Brad. I have a business in Florida, but I hold a B1, B2 visa. What's the recommended visa so I can stay longer in the country? An E2 visa, investor visa. Marie Brown. Hi, Brad. Is the NFC waiving any I-130 interview case for children that approve now? Yes. A lot of interviews are being waived right now. It's possible yours will as well, your child's. Prince Oy. Assuming I travel on my I-90 was not approved, can I be denied for reentry? Why would your I-90 not be approved? Unless that was the person who was calling before. And then I said, yes, it's okay to travel, and maybe you'll have a problem coming back. That was the guy who called he claimed he was married when he was single and got his visa. They'll let you back in if that's the same guy. Noni, I got a 10-year green card from VAWA. Can I still apply for citizenship after 3 years, though I'm divorced? Yes, you can. Karen Rowe, if I'm married for nearly 2 years, will I still be doing an interview? It depends if you submitted enough proof of the bona fides of the marriage. You may not. They are waiving some of the interviews now. Tanya. Hey, Brad, question. If someone got married in February of 2018, put his paperwork in 2019, got a 10-year green card in 2020, and still living with his wife and they have kids, when can he do his citizenship? 2023. Depends what month they got the green card. It's 3 years from the time you got your green card. Cassandra Davis. Can my U.S. partner live with me outside the U.S. while we wait for an I-130 to process? Absolutely. Orlando. Brad, will a change of address cause you to lose your 10-year green card? Process done, address changed because separation from wife, not divorced. I'm not sure what you're asking. Your I-751 is pending, and you're now changing your address. Well, if your I-751 is pending, and you're changing your address due to separation, you're going to need to do a waiver, either based on abuse or divorce. So you're going to need to speak to a lawyer. Shazim Mohammed. Hi, Brad. Does a green card holder need to file a separate petition for the same petition I-130 to sponsor spouse and son age 8 when doing adjustment of status? A green card holder does not have to file a separate I-130 for the 8-year-old son because as a green card holder, that 8-year-old son is derivative on the wife's case. So assuming everyone's eligible to adjust, you're going to file 2 adjustment applications, and 1 I-130 visa petition. Sani, or Sani. Hi, Uncle Brad. How's it work if a U.S. citizen step-parent files for a child under 21, but the LPR parent became a U.S. citizen before the I-130 interview? Any direction is greatly appreciated. You're going to continue with the U.S. citizen step-parent application because you're not going to start over from scratch again, I presume. So just continue the case as long as the step-parent's willing to continue. WizTech with another question. Hi, Brad. How can a person on a J1 internship visa possibly go about getting a green card? Can they attain a work permit from a family member who has a registered LLC trucking company? I would need WizTech. I tried to answer your question earlier. Thank you for more additional information. I don't think you're going to be able to get a work visa to work as a trucker. You may be able to get sponsored for your green card, go directly for a green card, but we would have to discuss about this. Lady Lee, I have 2 questions. I guess the first one, can a green card resident file for his mother? The answer is no. And the second question, how long does it take to change name on a VAWA green card, and is there a fee? If you're going to change your name on your green card, there is a fee for a name change. You have to pay $545 filing fee and file an I-90. Priscilla Lauren, my grandparents are U.S. citizens but passed away. They never applied for a green card for my father back home. Now I'm in the U.S. on a B1 visa. I applied for asylum. Do I have a chance to win? I don't know anything about your asylum case, and your grandparents being U.S. citizens has nothing to do with it. Brian Abdul. Scary picture, Brian. The Joker. U.S. citizen parents sponsored adult unmarried children. Priority date is 2018. The case is at the National Visa Center. How long again for the green card interview? If the priority date is 2018, you have several years of waiting. Melissa Malika. Hi, Brad. My spouse became DACA in his 20s after overstaying his visa. I answered that question several times. Dave Osborne. Question. If me and my wife is in the U.S. on a tourist visa and my son is a citizen, how long does it take to adjust our status? If it's both your biological son, your adjustment of status will take about a year. You'll file one adjustment. He'll file one adjustment for you and a separate adjustment for your wife. Boss lady. If asylum case was referred to immigration court, what are the consequences? You're in removal. You got to fight your asylum case before a judge. Prove that you are a member of a social group and you have a fear of future persecution or fear where you suffered through past persecution. Katie, 1876 Jamaica. Hi, Brad. What's the average timeline for a green card holder filing for a 10-year-old daughter from Jamaica, I-130? 2 to 3 years. Jamil. How long does it take humanitarian processing time? 15 months ago, I applied. Humanitarian processing time for what? I'm not sure what you applied for. Moise, do you have any idea about that, Mr. Jim? I don't know who Mr. Jim is. My EAD status updated card is being produced 2 times on March 7th and April 3rd. Do you know any reason for that, please? Probably the first one got destroyed somehow, so they're making a second one. Saul Gora. Hello, I have a pending defensive asylum and out of status. Does it affect my wife's EB3 I-45 at several months because all of her friends got a green card? Your asylum case has no effect on your wife's job sponsorship. Joe, nope. I was going to do, I guess, Santiago. I did Santiago already. And that's it. No, I missed a whole bunch. I don't know what happened, how I got all the way to the end here. Saul, I did. Joan Cowell. Hi, Uncle Brad. My sister here is on an H-2B visa. Our mom filed an I-130 for her. Can she stay here until the I-130 is approved? Probably not, because she's over 21 likely, and she's going to wait 7, 8, 9 years. Dainty. Gotta raise my body up a little bit because she has a long, Dainty has not a dainty question, but a long question. Good evening, Uncle Brad. My daughter's I-130 was approved. However, I got a notification saying that it did not indicate where she was going to adjust her status, and I should file an I-824. My daughter's in Jamaica, so I asked USCIS to review. If they said it's been reviewed by the relevant authority, do you think I should go ahead and file an I-824, or should I wait for a response? File an I-824 and forward the case to the National Visa Center. Other than that, your daughter will never get here. Moise, I asked that question already. Mohammed, hi, Brad. What's the form I-602? The I-602? I don't know. What is the I-602? Let's see. I-602 USCIS. That is a waiver. It's a waiver for inadmissibility. If you're applying, you're not eligible to become get your asylum or refugee status because you're inadmissible to the United States, most likely because you either persecuted other people or some criminal records. So that's a waiver for that. Amr, I was granted war. I was granted withholding of removal. Got it. As part of my dad's asylum application and have a work permit. I'm in the process of applying for a U visa, and the attorney wants to file an EAD with the U visa app. Is that going to be an issue? No, it will not be an issue. Mika. Brad, if a green card holder marries and files for someone in Jamaica, how long will the process take? The person has only been a green card holder since February 2023, 2 to 3 years, closer to 3 probably. Tashana McLeod. Can asylum seeker married to someone go to the military? No, you have to have a green card to join the military. Barbie. Hi, Brad. How long after you received your confirmation letter from your I-130 will you be called for your interview at the U.S. Embassy? Depends what embassy you're at. Every embassy works a little different. Richard Treasure. My husband filed for me, and I went to my interview. After I passed the interview, then the red flag, they said I must go back home, so I didn't file over. I don't know what the question is there. Jorge Silva, I got charged with a domestic violence, but I got the case dismissed. I still have good moral character? Maybe. Every time you're arrested, it affects good moral character. All right, Richie Treasure, maybe giving a better explanation. He starts with, my husband filed for me, and I went to my interview. After I passed the interview, red flag said I must go home, so I didn't file over. And then I was supposed to go to the asylum court this month, but I filed for my I-130, and they said to get my letter, so push back my case for the asylum October. Hope I get my green card. Still not a question, Richard. India. Sir, I have applied for VAWA. I have a permanent bar, and my now abuser wife asked me to become illegally to USA from Canada. Also not a question, but if you have a permanent bar, you need help. Call a lawyer. Brandon, from the moment you file for citizenship, how long does it take to become a citizen? What USCIS is going to put you through? Fingerprints, interview, what timeline? Can I travel overseas? Takes about a year, assuming, or less, assuming you don't have any skeletons in your closet. They're going to put you through fingerprints, or maybe your fingerprints will be waived if they have them already. You'll be interviewed, and the interview, you have to pass a civics test, prove you're a person of good moral character, prove you've been in the United States for 30 out of the last 60 months as a green card holder, no trip more than 6 months, living in the state for the last 90 days. Yes, you can travel overseas, but again, keep in mind those rules. Peter Gale, can a 19-year-old American-born son file for his undocumented father living in the United States? No, you have to be 21. Can I sponsor myself for the I-140? In the EB1 category, you can, as somebody of extraordinary ability. Nadia Codlin. Hi, Brad. Is my 14-year-old daughter is a U.S. citizen if her dad is a citizen before she was born and living in Jamaica at the time? She's living here now from 2020 as a green card holder. Yeah, most likely she's a citizen. Yow. Hi, Brad. How long do I have to wait for USCIS after they didn't approve my green card pending further discussion? 120 days. Minimum, but maybe longer. Depends on your case. All right, last question. Marcia Brown. Hi, Brad. I have been filing for my unmarried daughter in Jamaica since 2017. I received the approval letter from the I-130, but I don't hear anything since. You should be hearing from the National Visa Center. If you have not heard from them, contact me. All right, we have just a few more questions. I might as well finish them up then, I guess. Charles, does getting a driving violation affect your green card application for adjustment of status? Probably not. KL Holmes, hi Brad, my wife's petitioned for me, and I'm a U.S. citizen. I have 3 kids, but when she was doing the petition, she leaves only one of my kids off because we did not. We did not what? What did we not do? I don't know where the rest of the question is. All right. I don't know where the rest of that question is. All right. Zagoza fam. I have an upcoming marriage interview, I-45 adjustment, but my husband is not coming with me. Can I still go by myself to the interview? If your husband's not going to show up with you, that means the marriage broke up. If you show up, you're going to be denied unless you file a VAWA case based on abuse. Andrew Lopez, my stepson can file for me. I had an F1 visa and I've been here for 18 years. When I married his mom, he was 4. We still married. Yes, he can. If he's a U.S. citizen, absolutely. He can file the adjustment. Katie, Brad, my kid's name was not put on my VAWA application where the name should be put in, and a VAWA was approved. Can I still file I-824? Yes, you can. Luis De Leon, also scary face. Hi, Brad. Been a green card holder since 95 and 2003. Got arrested for criminal possession of a weapon. Pled guilty. Was sentenced to 5 years probation. Can I apply for citizenship? In 2003, got arrested for a weapon. Pled guilty. 5 years. You should be able to, yes. Assuming that's your only arrest. Danagel. I have an approved asylum. Will there be an issue when applying for a green card if I work before getting work authorization? It will not be a problem. Ramatu. Brad, do I need a waiver if I came illegally if I apply for VAWA? No, you don't need a waiver unless you committed fraud. Georgia. Hi, Brad. My uncle filed for his wife who lives in Jamaica. His status says approved and was passed on to the visa department. It's been over 3 years and no information. What advice would you give for the next step? Contact a lawyer. Somebody needs to contact National Visa Center or the U.S. Embassy. 3 years, a U.S. citizen sponsored his wife and hasn't heard. That's a problem. And finally, I answered every social media question here, I believe. Hi, Brad. How long to get BFD and EAD under biometrics and U visa? They say it's under a year. Nadia Codlin, can I apply for citizenship as a green card holder or the dad who the citizen has to put it in? If you're claiming derivative citizenship, you do it yourself. How do I contact your office? There's something right below that question. There's something scrolling across the screen. It says call Spar Bernstein PC to schedule a legal consultation at 1-800-529-5465 or +1 212-227-8933. Clackflix Lorenzo, hello, Mr. Brad. Can I adjust my status from under Haitian humanitarian parole and legal up to 2 years without going back home to Haiti? My wife's a green card holder. You should be able to, yes. Janae Downer, hi, Brad. If my permanent certification is being processed for EB3 while visiting on a B1, B2, what are my options if I'm running out of status? I would need to speak to you and see what options you have. Maybe you're eligible to adjust under EB3. Oh, your perm isn't approved yet. You would need to speak to me. Let's see. Last one, Melissa Malika. If papers expire, is it mandatory to have a COVID vaccine now when applying? You have to have a COVID vaccine to get a green card. Ramatu, hi, Brad. If my wife is Section 8, can I apply for VAWA? Yes, you can. That's it. I did it all. All right. Every last question asked as far as I'm aware. All right. So in the past, I spoke with Mexican-American filmmaker Chelsea Hernandez, whose documentary, Building the American Dream, exposes construction industry injustices in Texas, where at least half of the construction workforce is undocumented, and according to the Workers' Defense Project, face the deadliest work conditions in the country. Let's watch. Chelsea Hernandez is a Mexican-American filmmaker based in Austin, Texas. Her documentary, Building the American Dream, delves into the injustices in the construction industry in Texas, where, according to Remzekla, it is estimated that around half of the state's 1 million construction workers are undocumented. Building the American Dream is Chelsea's first directorial debut, and she joins me here on Bradshaw Live to discuss the film and her work. Welcome, Chelsea. Thanks for coming on. But before we get into our conversation, let's just watch a trailer from Building the American Dream.
Cuando nos venimos de México tenemos un sueño. Iba a ser algo bueno, para un buen futuro.
Me metí a la escuela en El Salvador. Allí fue donde aprendí un poquito de electricidad. Nunca me imaginé que no me iban a pagar.
Randy se empezó a estar malo desde las 10 de la mañana y él le dijo que se sentía mal y nunca le decía deja de trabajar o no, él nomás le decía, lo corría para un lado.
I'm the sister of a fallen construction worker. You have the power to protect the workers who built this city.
Es hora de pedir justicia y que digamos un hasta aquí, no más muertes.
These are folks who work 10 hours doing the hardest job you can possibly do, and they're not afforded the basic rights of water.
Construimos la ciudad, demandamos dignidad, beneficios merecemos y pagamos nos iremos.
Nosotros estamos peleando por todos, sin importar si es legal o es ilegal, de nacionalidad que sea.
So the statistic in the trailer that a construction worker is killed on the job in Texas every 2.5 days is just absolutely astounding. I don't think people understand how many people die building America.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking to me. I had no idea. I live in Austin, Texas. I was going to the university at the time, and there was a scaffold accident near campus, and 3 workers had fallen to their death when their scaffold collapsed, building a luxury condominium tower. And it was in the news, it was devastating, and it was just so close to where I was going to school that it really shocked me to know that people were actually getting hurt on the job. And Austin, like many giant cities around the country, has been booming for the past 15 years. I mean, there's 10 new buildings in the skyline that has entered over the decade. And so it really hit home to me, realizing that people were actually dying to build my hometown. And so I went to a rally, and I had some friends who were volunteering with an organization called Workers Defense Project, and they were working on a study that would uncover the statistic, and it didn't come out until about a year after this accident. And that was when I was like, how does nobody know this? And we should all be outraged, especially in a town like Austin, which is very liberal. I was like, why is no one standing up trying to protect these workers and call for safer working conditions?
How long did it take you to make the movie?
When the idea came, I kind of put it in the back of my head. I filmed a little bit, and I thought, well, let me, get into the documentary industry. I need to, get some experience. And I did. And then another accident had happened. And I was like, okay, surely someone's out there developing this, or maybe it's already been made. And this was 2013. And I did some more research, and nobody had done anything about it. The New York Times had written an article about Texas construction, about the Workers Defense Project. It was a huge article, and that I thought would totally get someone interested in making a film about this, and there was nothing. And so I thought, I'm here on the ground, I'm seeing what's happening. I have connections to workers and to this organization. I just need a film. So it did consume my life for a while.
while.
So who do we meet in Building the American Dream?
We meet a Salvadorian couple, Claudia and Alex. They're electricians and they have 2 children, and they're just trying to make ends meet when they get robbed of their wages while doing all the electrical work on a grocery store in Dallas. So we follow them as they try to fight for their wages. It's about $11,000 that they are owed, as well as dealing with Claudia's immigration case, which she has an order of deportation, so she has to check in with ICE pretty regularly.
So it's a confluence of the immigrant situation, people getting deported, people coming from another country, people getting taken advantage of. So you have the immigration molded with worker safety.
Yeah, mainly also to show this link, like as much as a worker dies every 2.5 days, nearly half of the construction workforce in Texas is undocumented. And so it's questioning, like, why is there so much danger in the workplace? And it's really because you have immigrants being taken advantage of. They're disposable. And so, of course, we're going to see people die, people get hurt on the job.
What type of research goes into making a film like this?
The Workers' Defense Project is the only organization in the state that was fighting for construction workers, specifically undocumented and immigrant workers. And so my access to them was really incredible. And they were the only people doing this sort of research. I mean, unions hadn't even had these numbers. The fact that a worker dies every 2.5 days in Texas, like unions had no idea about that statistic until Workers' Defense Project got the funding to do a study to uncover those numbers.
Unions, who are supposed to be protecting the worker, doesn't know anything about this.
I think, they've got so much to deal with and they don't have the resources to conduct a really intensive study on the workplace.
So Building the American Dream, it was released in 2019. Have there been any updates on the families that you profiled in the film? For example, we talked about Claudia. She was facing an order of deportation. She was owed $11,000. How's it going for her now?
They got a little bit of money, and we see that in the film, but it was really only about $420, and they doubt that they'll get their money back, to be honest. However, what has happened from that is their employer actually threatened their lives, and their attorney recognized that a death threat from an employer was something that they could take to court. So they were able to apply for a U visa, both of them. However, that was a few years ago, so they're still pending. But she was checking in at ICE every 3 months, and now she doesn't have to check in for another 2 years. That was a great victory for her.
Tell us about the Granillo family that you featured in the film.
So the Granillo family, their son was undocumented, and he was working in the industry in residential construction. And in Texas, there's no state law that requires employers to give their workers a rest break. And Roindy Granillo, the son, he was about 25 years old, was ill on the construction site and asked his boss for a rest break. His boss denied him a break and told him he needed to continue working. And this was in 100-degree temperatures right outside of Dallas, Texas. And he collapsed. And there's a 911 call in the movie, which is a woman across the street who called 911 because his boss and his coworkers went over to tell her to call, and then they left. So he was left in this house unconscious and later died. And so the Granillo family teamed up with the Workers' Defense Project and other worker organizations like the AFL-CIO and fought for a rest break law in Dallas. And they ended up winning, but it wasn't without a fight. There's some strong words from some city council members that are against a rest break.
Christian Otavo, he lost his dad in a roofing accident. He then became a building inspector after his dad died because he wanted to prevent accidents from happening. How is he doing these days?
Christian's doing okay. He's working in carpentry and he's an independent contractor. He realizes what a safe workplace looks like and he understands his rights. So he knows if he's put in a precarious situation, he knows how to come forward.
Chelsea Hernandez is a Mexican. All right. You don't see my face, but you hear my voice, I believe. And next week, we'll hear the second part of my interview with Chelsea and we will discuss the workers' compensation laws in Texas and New York and what people should do if they are injured on a job site where they are working. And no one should have to experience workplace hazards. We recently spoke about the fact that in some instances, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, will now give U visas to immigrants who help to expose workplace rights violations and crimes. And if you think you might have a hazardous workplace claim, you can call a personal injury attorney in New York or New Jersey. You can call us at 1-800-529-5465. And as I was watching that interview, I was just even thinking about the laws that they plan on passing in Texas, where it's going to be illegal to employ felony, to employ someone who's undocumented. And if they're really going to enforce that law, nothing's going to be built in Texas. If 1 out of 2 people are undocumented aliens in the workforce, or if something does get built, it's going to cost 5 times the amount of money because there's going to be such a scarcity of workers. Things are going to be delayed and wages are going to go flying through the roof. I don't know what Texas is thinking about. All right, we're ready to do some speed round. It's where I am asked 10 questions. I ask myself 10 questions and give 10 answers in 50 seconds to beat the clock. Let's do it. All right, so I'm ready when you are. Let's start the clock. 10 questions, 50 seconds. Let's go. Can an international student join the U.S. Army? No, they can't. Can I change from a tourist to a student visa while in the U.S.? Sure. Can I apply for a work visa while on a visitor's visa in the United States? If you apply and you qualify, yeah. Can I apply for a U.S. passport with I-90 to replace a green card pending? You can apply for a U.S. passport if you're a U.S. citizen, but if you're an I-90, you have a green card, you have to apply for a citizenship unless you're derivative. Does a letter to expedite I-130 have to be notarized? No. My clock's not going, or it is going. Will filing an I-485 affect applying for OPT negatively? Go back again. Well, what? Will filing an I-45 affect applying? Yes, you can't apply for a student OPT and adjust your status at the same time. How long for an interview after the I-601 waiver is approved? Hopefully soon. I don't know. How long to get a work permit with I-45 and I-360 pending? About 6 to 8 months. Can a grandmother file for her grandchildren? No, but perhaps a SIDGE if the children live with the grandmother. Can I work while waiting for an I-130 approval? Not legally. I won, but I don't know if the clock was going the whole time. I don't know if the clock was going the whole time, so I'm not sure if that deserves a full congratulations, but okay. All right. Let's go to comments of the day. There's the balloons. Comments of the day. All right, comments of the day. First comment. Lady Leah, I'm enjoying every second of the show. Brad is the best. Thank you very much, Lady Leah. Jessica Leamy, as long as Brad and the squad is on, I'm good with that. Thank you very much, Jessica Leamy. Deanne Reed, your friends and family aren't an immigration lawyer, so just be happy you called the most informative and helpful lawyer, so just go and link him for a consultation. Thank you, Deanne. Elizabeth Francis, Uncle Brad, the man with the plan. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And is that it? That looks like it's it. Those are all of the comments of the day. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. We're going to see you back here Monday, April 17th at 5 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, remember to subscribe to Bradshaw Live on YouTube. Like and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Have a great week. Be safe. We'll see you back here next Monday, 5 o'clock, Bradshaw Lifetime. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay. Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it, I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAWLINK, 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?